Hello, this is Tyrone Holmes, the founder and CEO of the Men of Semper Fidelis, located here in the city of Durham, North Carolina. We want to come back and welcome you again and answer some questions that have been going around, and maybe some people are curious about who we are as the Men of Semper Fidelis. Some questions have came up. Are we a fraternity or are we Masons? Well, we are neither one of those organizations. We're going to give you a brief history of who we are and what we do here at the Men of Semper Fidelis so you can get a better idea of what we are trying to achieve, not only here in the city of Durham, but throughout the country and throughout the world. The Men of Semper Fidelis is a Christian-based, non-profit men's outreach organization that fosters men and youth relationships for brotherhood, mentorship, and ways to impact our community. We are not a church, all right? I want to say it now. We are not a church. Yes, I'm a minister, been a minister for 27 years, but we are not here to take anybody's members, but we are here to bridge the gap between what society say we are and who we truly are as men and youth. So briefly, the first question probably comes to your mind, well, what does Semper Fidelis mean? Well, it's a Latin word that means always faithful. That term was picked up in the late 1800s, 1883, by the way, by Colonel Charles Macaulay of the United States Marine Corps. And anybody that knows anything about the military knows when they say simplify, they usually say meaning the Marine Corps. Well, we took on that motto because we feel that a man or a youth should not be left behind. And that's what we do here at the Men of Semper Fidelis. Just to give you a brief history of who we are and how this all started. Um, Back in 2009, I worked for the city of Durham, and I was at work one day, and I was reading a book by one of my mentors, Bishop T.D. Jakes, which many of y'all are familiarized with. And during this period, while reading this book and another book by Pastor Randy White of Church Without Walls, coming from the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area to North Carolina was a big shock. And anybody that's come from a big city to come to a smaller town or environment really has to get adjusted. And I was going through some trials and some situations about my ministry, and I felt because I didn't have a big church and I didn't have the big members that God was not answering my prayer. And I love the gospel, I love the Lord, and I was going through some family issues at that time, and I just left the church. I just walked away from a family, from the church, everything. I just walked away from it because I felt God did not hear my cry. And I just felt, well, at this point in my life, I'm just going to walk away. I don't want to hear about God. I don't want to hear about what he loves me and all that. I didn't want to hear it. And when anybody wanted to pray for me, I just could not take it because I just felt that God had forgotten me and that he had not heard my cry. So one day, before my wife and I got through some terrible times at that point, she said, well, why don't you start a men's organization? But like I said, and I tell anybody, I don't do anything unless God moves on my heart to do it. And a couple of years had passed, or a year or so had passed, and I was just still out there. I wasn't going to church. I was just going to work and just coming home, and just felt that God was not there for me. So at that point, I started reading the book. And I always, my late Bishop Mac Timberlake of Christian Faith Center in Creedmoor, North Carolina, was always a big encourager of reading books, because he always said that your future and your destination will depend on the books that you read and the people that you associate with. So I had a book that, as you can see in my office, there's books all over the place, and I'm a big believer in reading. I started reading the book by T.D. Jakes, which is called He Motions, a very, very, very powerful book. And I picked the book up, and I was halfway through the book, and I was reading the chapter in the book, and Bishop T.D. Jakes was talking about male friendships and male relationships. As we as men, we really don't do that because it's a taboo in our society. And he said men really need to start coming together. And at that point, it was like God spoke to me right through those words. It's like I was hit with a sledgehammer. And he said, since you want to do something for me, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start bringing men together from all backgrounds, whether they're black, white, green, blue, no matter what their denomination is, what their creed is, but start building an organization. He said, first, he said, I do not want you to start a church. Even though I want the organization to be Christian-based and be able to bring men to Christ, but I don't want you to start hitting people over the head with religion. So he said, I want you to start bringing men together. Because you know, naturally, if you watching this, and even women, if you're watching this video, you know, men, we talk generally. We speak generally. We talk about women. We talk about sports. We talk about our portfolios, if we have financial portfolios. We talk about our cars. We talk about music. We talk about everything under the sun. But what really, really concerns us, or what really bothers us, is our pain and the stress that we go through. People don't think that men go through problems. In situations we do, but society has said that we must be strong, we can't cry, we have to have everything held together. And a woman don't really want to hear a man cry about his problems, because she'll basically say that he's a wimp or a wuss. You know, society has told men that you have to be strong. But we as men really need an outlet where we can go. And that's how the Men of Semper Fidelis started. You know, we started this organization back in September 10th, 2009 was our first meeting. We called men together, we gathered men together from all backgrounds, and we decided, well, this was a good idea to move forward with, and that's how it all started. And I'm telling you, this has been astronomically unbelievable. We come to our meetings every Thursday, we share, we cry, we build friendships, because we as men, we really don't have true friends. We have associates because we don't want to tell another man about what we're going through, because another man may think that we soft, or that we're a punk, and that we don't understand, and that we're supposed to keep everything together, and those things that we don't share. But I'm telling you, this organization has grown in leaps and bounds. It's just amazing what has happened over the years with this organization. We come together, we talk about everything under the sun. I mean, from A to Z, no holds are barred on our conversation and our roundtable discussion on Thursday night. But one thing we do not do, we do not share our confidentiality with anybody else outside these doors, because we as men, you know, in the church setting, and Bishop T.D. Jakes alluded to this in the book He Motion, which I recommend all you men to get, and even you women to get this for the man of your life, your son, your husband, your father, nephew, to get this book, because he said that in the church, that when it comes to men's ministries, that either they are non-existent, or they're very weak. And I agree with him, because we go to church, our wives and our sisters and our mothers want a man to come to church and be saved. But once you get a man in the church, what do you do with the man after you get him there? Yeah, he may join the choir, he may be on the deacon board, or do any other things in the church. But when a man starts hurting on the inside, where does he go? Well, he may go to the pastor or go to somebody else in the church, and next thing you know, that the man, his business is all throughout the church. That's why a lot of men don't come to church, because he feels that he can't trust anybody. But here at MSF, that man can trust us, because that's what we do. We keep everything confidential, and we don't spread that man's business out in the street. We try to be professional, and that's how we are grown. We talk to each other every day. We're there to stand in the gap and to love, to support, and to encourage one another. Our core values, I want to go briefly over that, is commitment. We need to learn as men that we need to learn how to make a commitment, not only with our wives and our children, but to another man, because that's where we as men get our strength from, by coming together and learning and depending on one another as men, because who knows more about going through hell than another man? You know, that's why every day, if you look at the television, I know you hear it every day on the television, in the newspaper, a man shoot somebody or kill somebody. Why? Because a man is going through an inner rage, and he has no outlet to release his problems and somebody to talk to. That's what the Men of Semper Fidelis does. We're there to assist men in going through the issue that he may go through. It may be substance abuse. It may be alcoholism. It may be gambling addiction. It could be pride, suicide. It could be incarceration, people coming out of jail. We do have brothers in our organization that have did some time in prison, and they love the organization because we are there to support them. We're not there to condemn another brother. We're there to support. It could be financial crisis that you may be going through. It could be a family crisis, homelessness, restlessness. It could be men's health issues, self-esteem. We deal with all these issues. That's commitment. Courage. We got to learn as men to be able to step up to the plate and be bold enough to be courageous in the situations that we go through in our home. We have to learn how to do that, because really we don't really have any true role models in our society today. We really don't have them. But the Men of Semper Fidelis are trying to make real men come together so we can start making an alliance, not only here in Durham but across the country. Perseverance. We have to learn how to go through our problems together. Don't go and hide behind the wall. Don't go and hide in your closet. Don't go hide, because that's where things fester and build up, and the next thing you know, he then went and shot somebody. I know you just heard it in the news about the military gentleman in Afghanistan went and killed 16 people. Just shot and just went down the line, open up doors and shoot people. Why is that? And we say, well, what happened? Well, it's because there's an inner rage going on. The enemy is trying to destroy the man. And if he can destroy man, then the whole family is dead. So let's continue to work together as men. Our next commitment, number 4, is honor. We need to learn how to honor our commitments. Learn how to keep our word. Many of us as men, we say one thing, we do another thing. We have to learn how to honor not only ourselves, but our family, our fellow brother, our women. We need to learn how to honor our women, because we really don't honor our women. We treat them like trash, and they supposed to be there for every woman to satisfy us when we think we need to be satisfied. We need to learn how to respect and honor our women. That's a key that we have not learned as men. All right, uplifter. Okay, uplifter. We need to learn how to uplift one another, as well as we don't need to talk down to one another, but be there to support. And lastly, manhood. We need to learn how to grow together as men and to be there for one another. Well, I want to give you one last thing. What is our vision? You probably say, well, what is that? What is your vision? Well, our vision is men and youth transformed into friends to establish a brotherhood. That's what we're all about, a brotherhood, and bringing men and youth together. And then lastly, what is our mission? Well, it is to unite men and youth to become friends that will result in a brotherhood. This will change their life with themselves, their family, and other men in the communities which they live. Well, I hope that this opened the door to answer some of your questions about the Men of Semper Fidelis. And if you have any questions, give us a call. We look forward to talking to you real soon.